In this section, we're going to create the level 2 map. We're going to start off and create a new node for the level 2. We're then going to add all the map tiles for the map's design. We'll then make sure to ensure to add all the borders, platform collisions, spike areas, and win area. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, let's go ahead and get started creating our level 2. So for level 2, it's going to be pretty similar to our level 1. So an easy way we can go about doing this is just simply selecting our level 1 in scenes, right click on it, duplicate, and just simply change the name to level 2. Go ahead now, double click to open it up, and we can begin changing what we need. So what we're going to do here is we're going to adjust a couple things. We're first going to close everything out, and we're going to go ahead and redesign the map first. To visualize things a little better, I'm going to make all the collisions invisible, and then we're going to go ahead and go into tiles. We're going to go ahead into tile map layer hills, and I'm going to erase everything here just so we can start from scratch. So use the eraser tool, highlight over the whole map, and I'm going to do that there. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to replace this ground here with our purple ground. So let's go ahead, locate it. Should be this one here. I'm going to go ahead, unselect the eraser tool, and then simply just highlight over it, replacing that there. We're also going to go ahead, replace the bottom one as well. Should be this one here. And I'm going to lower this a little bit more because in this specific map, we're going to have kind of like a divot going here all the way to here to where you win the game. So let's go ahead and I'm going to use the eraser tool to begin creating that divot. I'm going to go from like right here, make it pretty deep, and let's go about here. We can always make it bigger later if we need to. Let's give it some nice corners though. Let's use our corner tool, turn off the eraser. Make sure you're selecting the right one. Let's give it a nice side going all the way down. Same thing over here. Let's do the other side. And then this one here, going all the way down. Next thing we can do, of course, is add the spikes on the bottom. I'm going to do that going across. Let's double check the positioning. Go ahead, turn the collisions back on. I really just want to make sure the win area is still active here, which it looks like it is. We might need to extend it a little bit more over here. So I'm going to turn this off again. Simply go ahead, extend it just a little bit more. So let's select the correct one. Go across a bit, and then go ahead, re-add that one going down, just so we know that it won't look like the world cuts off. But I think that looks nice. All right. Now we can go ahead, close up the tiles. And what we could do is also add some tiles to jump on top of. That'll add a little bit more fun to the game, I think. So we could go ahead and reopen up tiles, select the tile map layer hills, change this name. Instead of hills, we can call it platforms. Then what we're going to do is we're going to select it. If you remember, this one doesn't have any collision shapes, which is great. We can go ahead and start building some of those platforms. So I'm going to go ahead, select this one here, and just start making a couple of these. I'm going to put one pretty close. Let's do one there. We can do another one over here. Maybe one a little higher up, a little below, and just kind of keep going like this until we get a pretty decent amount to make the game kind of fun. That one might be a little close. I'm going to go up a little bit more, a little bit lower, maybe over there, and then one more that we have to jump on to get to the end. We need to go ahead now, add the rest of these. Let's use the middle pieces now, just like that. Remember, you can always customize this however you like. I think this looks pretty good though. Oops, make sure you add the right one. There we go. Oops. Keep adding them. Don't leave any out. And there we go. Now we just need to add the correct collision shapes to each one. So I'm going to do that first, just so we don't forget. So go ahead, close up the tiles, open up collisions. If you remember, since these ones are going to be pass-throughable, but we can still land on top, we're going to go ahead and make them all one-way static body. Now let's make this whole thing visible so we can see. I'm going to make everything else invisible though, so we can see things a little better. And let's go ahead into here. I'm going to select this one, go to inspector, let's make it unique. And I'm going to readjust it to about the same size as one of our platforms. So let's do like that. Bring it in a bit. And over here. And I'm going to remove the other one because all the other ones are the same. And then all we have to do, use the move tool. Let's use Control D and just line them up on each. Might not be perfect, but I think that's okay. As long as it's relatively on top of it, it will work good. Let's make sure to add each one. Just like that. Another over here. Two more left. And the last one. Nice. Let's close that up there. We can go ahead now and go to the actual regular static body. This is for the actual ground layer, I think. Or no, this is for the borders, which honestly, they look pretty good. I might just keep those. The one thing that doesn't look good though, of course, is the spikes. We need to lower that down. So let's start off in here. Take the spike one first, which is this one. Simply lower it down to, let's do about there. Then all we gotta do is take the spikes area 2D. This is what's actually giving it the effect of the game over. Let's take that, bring it down a little bit above, right about there. You can always lower it more if you want, but I think that'll be okay. Next thing we gotta do is the win area, make sure it's lined up, which it looks pretty good there. I think we'll be okay with that. Overall though, everything looks very nice. Now again, if you eventually experience issues with the actual collision of the tiles, remember we did that in the tiles one on the ground. If you go to tile set, you'll see all those collisions. So each one should already have a collision on them, except for, of course, the floating tiles, which are also not going to be active in this one as well. Let's close out of there. Select out. We can close everything up. Go ahead, save what you got. In this section, we're going to create the level 3 map. We're going to start off creating a new node for the level 3. We're then going to add all the map tiles for the map's design. Next, we're going to ensure to add all the borders, platform collisions, spike areas, and win area. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, let's go ahead and get started creating our level 3. Now level 3 is going to be pretty similar to both of them. We're just going to be adding a few things different inside of it. So let's go ahead, open up our scenes. Let's select one like level 1, right click, duplicate it, and let's go ahead. We're going to change this name to level_3. Go ahead, double click to open it up. Let's zoom out a bit and let's close everything up real quick. Now one thing to note is when you do duplicate it, it's going to duplicate everything inside of it. It's not going to rename the main node as level 3, so make sure to do that. Change that just so things aren't too confusing. So we'll do level 3 there. And I think we didn't do that in the last one either, so make sure go back into level 2 and just make sure to change that to level 2. Control S to save. Back to level 3 though. Let's go ahead. I'm going to open up everything. Let's also go ahead and open up collisions. I'm going to go ahead and disable all the collisions so we can see things a little better. I'm going to go ahead, open up our tiles, just like we did before, go to our ground. Let's change out the basic ground, and I'm going to start off with erasing everything in hills. Let's use the eraser tool. Just erase the hills. And then back in ground, let's go ahead, select the one we want to use for level 3, which is this one. Let's make the base ground the same tile. There we go. Make sure it's also over there. If it isn't, that's because it has the other one on there. So make sure to erase that. There we go. Let's also go ahead, erase this one over here as well. Perfect. And I'll just double erase just to make sure everything's gone. All right, now we can continue. I'm going to go ahead and make the base one as well. Let's do that. Turn off the eraser tool. Let's grab the base one, which I think is this one here. Let's take that and just go all the way across. All right. Now this level is going to be a little smaller than the two others because it's mainly a boss battle. So let's turn on the collisions for just a second. We can go ahead though and close these out. We're not actually going to have any of these platformers in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just remove that. So I'm going to take it and control or just delete key. That'll disappear those. Perfect. I'm also going to make this a little smaller. Let's go ahead and just move in each border. So let's take our borders right here. Well, this one can stay the same, but this one will tuck in a little bit. Let's go ahead, take that, and I'm going to move it in just a bit to about there. Same thing for the win area. Let's take that win area, move the move tool, and you can either move the collision or the main node. That's up to you. I'm going to move the collision and just move it in just about there. Nice. All right. Then we're going to go ahead, start designing what we need. I'm going to close that there. I'm also going to go ahead back to tiles. So I'm going to make some areas for spikes first, like right over here. Right in the middle, let's use the ground tool for that. I'm going to erase the spots where the spikes are going to be. And we can make it about the same depth as it currently is here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to take away 2 here, just like that. I'm going to leave, let's say, 2 there, but I'll take away 3 in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, down another one. And let's go ahead, do another one over there. If you're still getting issues with that, make sure you do it as well here. Thought we already took those away, but no worries. We might be overlapping it. So that's going to be our spike area. Let's add the spikes. Let's go ahead, select spikes. Make sure eraser tool is off. Add the little spikes there. I like it. Now for the tile map layer hills, this will actually be something we can use. I'm going to make this kind of like the background wall of once we're in the little building that we fight the boss. Now, I think a good idea for this would be to change the name. Let's call this tile map player walls. And we're going to give it a little bit of background wall. I'm going to be using, let's just use the one here. Make sure you're selecting it though. And I'm going to go ahead and just add that. I'm going to go about here all the way across. Let's see, that's 3 over there. Make sure it's covering it completely, like right about there. I think that should be a good size. Now, the reason why it's in front of it is because, of course, the ordering. So what I'm going to do is just move the node right above it, right there. Oops, looks like we had some overlapping ones. We can go ahead and erase those real quick. We don't need those. So I'm going to take all that and go like that. Looks like we never actually added it correctly. Let's do that real quick. And I'm going to go ahead, replace what we need. Whoops, make sure you don't have eraser tool on. There we go. I knew there was something funny going on. Let's go ahead and add that all there. And then there as well. All right, so here we're back to where we were. I like it. Now this still kind of matches this and I don't really like that. So what I'm going to do, at least for the background, don't forget to fill these spots, is I'm going to darken this one out just a bit. So we're going to go ahead, select it. We're going to go to visibility and see the modulate. We're simply just going to select it and decrease it down just a bit so it kind of looks like it's the back wall. Again, it's up to you how you want to do that. I think that looks pretty good though. Let's go ahead and finish up what we need to kind of cover this around. We know the ground layer actually has the borders, so we want this. Let's go ahead and I'm going to again grab the wall one we have. Make sure eraser tool is off. I'm going to go ahead now and add some walls here so our player can go underneath there. I'm going to do, let's do 2 there, let's do 3. So we'll go 3 up and we'll go all the way up like that. Again, same thing here. It's going to have 1 spot, 2 spot there, so make sure you have 2 spots. So that's too close. We'll do 1 more over and just make sure it's on the same. I like it. And then we'll go ahead, go on up, match it. And then what I'm going to do is go across and simply give it a little bit of length right there. Then we just need to go ahead, give it some rounded corners for everything. We can go ahead and do that. Make sure you're on the ground one. I'm going to give it some rounded corners for each one. Just like that. Give it some here too. And the other ones. And then of course the lines going down. Let's do the other side now. And then of course we need these here, and then here, and then the going across on the top. All right, eventually we'll create some doors that'll of course shut when the player walks through, but for now we'll keep it as is, okay? All right, so now let's go ahead and let's back up a bit. Let's check it out. Looks pretty good. Our player will spawn somewhat over here. They'll be able to walk in, fight the boss, the doors reopen, and then they can exit outside of here. Now there's one thing I think we should add, which will make the game be a little bit more alive, I think, just to differentiate between the levels. I think we could darken or maybe even change the background color of this cloud background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select our scrolling background for each one, and I'm actually going to go into the visibility, modulate, and just simply change the color. Now this one I think would look pretty cool if it was like red, because it's the boss battle, maybe not so bright. We'll go a little darker red, something like that. Signifies this is a very dangerous area. I'm also going to go ahead and bring it up a bit. Or better yet, we could just move everything down a little bit. I just think I want to see those hills, because if you remember, we have all these hills here. So what I'm going to do is take our scrolling background and let's just move it up a bit. So we have the, let's see where the transform is. Should be somewhere around here. There's transform. I'm going to move that Y position up a bit. So we'll go ahead, or down in Godot. We'll move it down to negative. Let's do like negative 40. Maybe a little bit more. We'll do negative 80. Just enough to see the little hills. I'll just do negative 100. We have to make sure to do this though in each area or it's not going to look right. So we have the nice red background here. I like this a lot. Let's save it. Let's go to level 2 real quick. Now this one, again, is the same color as the first one, which I don't want that. Let's change it to match the floor, which is a little purple. Let's open that up. First thing we got to do, of course, go to transform, switch the positioning to match, which will be negative 100. And then, of course, change the color, go to visibility, modulate. Let's make it like a purple, maybe not too bright, something like that. I like it a lot. Save that change. Go back to level 1. Now this one I like keeping it the same, but I am going to go ahead and move that up a bit to match the other ones. Go to transform, take the Y value, negative 100, just so we can see those hills. I like it. And then of course, don't forget this is also inside of our main. So if you want it to match up, go ahead, open that up, locate the scrolling background, change it to negative 100. Nice. All right, let's go ahead. Let's save what we got in each one. close out of everything here. Make sure we close out of everything here as well in map. Same thing in level 2, close the map. Same thing in level 3, close the map. All right, I'm gonna save. I'm also gonna close out of each thing here, just so we can keep things nice and clean. Close here, and close up here. Looking good so far.